Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be about personal statements and how to write a personal statement. When I was writing mine, I was getting information from different places, but I just wanted to make a video, just one video where I'll put everything together so you can just watch this video and hopefully just have all the information you need to write a personal statement. It's going to be a long video, so get ready. I'm going to split into two parts. So in the first part, which is this part, I'll talk about some things to keep in mind before writing a personal statement, and then when writing a personal statement, how to structure the beginning, the main part, the body, and also the conclusion as well. And then the next video, in the second part, will just be about some tips and tricks to make your personal statement stand out. So obviously you can stand out compared to the other thousands of people who are applying for the course as well. And hopefully you can get into the university of your choice. If you're not studying the physician associate course, that's fine. A lot of the tips that I'm sharing in this video will be useful to you as well. But if you study the PA program, definitely just stay and watch the video. I'll put timestamps to everything I'm talking about in the description box so that you can check that out and hopefully skip to the part you're most interested in. And before we start, a disclaimer as well. So in no way I'm a personal statement expert. The information I'm giving you guys is from personal experience because I had to write my personal statement as well, and also from professional advice because when I was writing mine, I was able to seek advice from different people, and also just by doing research as well. So obviously keep that in mind when you're watching this video, and maybe ask other people as well, do some other research as well, and then yeah, just use this as a guide. Like I said, it's going to be a very long video, so grab your popcorn, grab some paper so you can make some notes, and let's dive into it. So before you want to start writing your personal statement, this is something I advise to do. It's important to look into the course you're applying for and look at the skill sets required. So for example, this is for the PA program. So look into the PA program. There's some amazing websites where they talk about the skills you need. Just look at those skills and see if you have those skills and how you can demonstrate you have those skills. Just have a think about it, because in your personal statement, those are the things you want to be talking about. So when I say a personal statement, there are three main questions you need to be able to answer, in my opinion. The first one is why you're applying for this course. Like, what led you to apply for this course? Why are you passionate about it? How did you learn about it? Why did you choose this course or this profession over the others as well? So that's the first thing you want to think about. The second thing you want to think about is, what do you know about this course that you're applying for? What is your understanding about the course and about the role itself? And this is important because the PA program or the PA career or profession is very misunderstood. So you are applying for the program, it's important that you know exactly what you're doing and you can differentiate this from the other careers out there as well. So think about that and think if you understand the role. And it's just doing research. I have lots of videos which I'll link in the description box on what is a PA and what we do. And there are lots of videos on YouTube, lots of resources on Instagram as well. So just do your research because you need to be able to demonstrate that you know exactly what you're applying for. And the third question you want to think about is, what skill set do you have that will make you an exceptional candidate for this course and career as well? So what skills do you have that will make you stand out compared to the other thousands of people applying for the course? And it's not enough to just mention those skill sets. You have to be able to demonstrate why you think you have those skill sets, and obviously what you've done to build that skill set, and also why you think that skill set is important for the career you're applying for. So just an example, it's not enough to just say I was able to build my communication skills or I have amazing communication skills. You have to be able to demonstrate how you have those. So maybe you could give an example of a work experience you did. Maybe I used to work with people with hearing impairment, and obviously I had to find ways to communicate with them, and that challenged me into building up and improving my communication skills. And this is very useful for the PA course because obviously as a PA you're dealing with a lot of people from different background, different culture, and being able to communicate with them is very crucial to be able to give them the best care possible. So this is just an example on the top of my head on like how you need to do that. So it's not enough to just mention the skills, you have to demonstrate that you have that skills. And after you thought about all this, you want to start writing personal statements. And the start of the personal statement is the most important part because it's important to do your reader in. You know, they say like when people read stuff or hear stuff, the main part they remember is the beginning and the end. So from that beginning part, you want to catch the reader's attention and get them interested already. So it can be the hardest, and most of the time, at least when I was writing mine, it took me a lot of time to start just because I was trying to think of the best first statement to put in mind, and that took me ages. So my advice to you guys for the beginning is maybe don't start from the beginning. You don't have to start from the beginning. You can actually do the beginning at the end. Most people do that. I think it's important to start writing something down. So when writing the beginning, you can obviously fall into the trap of trying to find something very catchy to grab the reader's attention, and that can take ages. So what I recommend is leave the beginning, just start jotting something down. Trust me, once you start writing, you pick up from there. Now if you choose that you want to start the beginning because you just cannot continue without the beginning, and that was me, or if you've done everything else and you have the beginning part left, here are some tips or just some advice on how to make that beginning part the best. So number one thing to do is don't use quotes. I think a lot of time when you're trying to get that catchy introduction, a lot of people try to use quotes, these famous quotes and catchy quotes, and that doesn't really make sense, because the first statement is about you and what you think. Like, nobody cares about what Nelson Mandela said or what he thinks. It's about what you're saying and what you think. So why are you enthusiastic about this course? Like, why do you want to study this course? Start with that, because at the end of the day, that's what people want to know. We want to know about, I say we, I'm not really the one reading president, but they want to know about you, the university you're applying for want to know about you, and why you want to apply for this course, and what skill sets you have. So just start with that. Number two thing to think about is avoid cliche statements. And you'll do this because your goal is to stand out, and these statements are going to be used by everybody. And some example of this statement is from a young age I've always been interested, or I've always had an interest, or I'm applying for this course because. So after reading thousands of statements that started with from a young age, if yours as well starts with from a young age, that just creates this daunting feeling in the reader, and they just become uninterested. So avoid cliche statement. And this leads me into the number three thing you want to do, and is don't waste time on catchy openers. Like, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. What really matters is yourself and why you want to study this course. Why you're passionate about it, why you're enthusiastic about it. So just start with that, and that is what they want to know. And don't say you want to study this course because it's interesting, because that makes no sense. If you say it's interesting, what's interesting about it? Like, be specific and be able to extract this stuff and be able to communicate this stuff that you find interesting, that push you to apply for this course. So just summarizing for the beginning part, don't waste time on catchy openings, don't use quotes, and don't use cliche statements. Just dive in with who you are and why you want to apply for the course and why you're interested in the course as well. So just dive in and start with that. So now let's move off from the beginning and let's go to the body, the main important part of the person statement. Now, keep in mind, what you're trying to do with this statement is you're trying to sell yourself. What makes you more equipped to do this course than the thousands of people applying? Because at the end of the day, they're reading your statement that they're reading thousands of others, and the reader wants to read yours and be like, okay, I think this is a better candidate than these other people that I've read. So that is what you're trying to do. So I've been able to come up with a few things I think you need to include in your personal statement and how to structure it. And let's start with number one. So the number one thing you want to include is, what things have you done that is related to the course you're applying for? So this could be a previous study. The pre-year program is a postgraduate program. It's just an undergraduate one, but a lot of people apply after having done a degree. So if you did a degree that is related, you can talk about that degree. And always, when you mention something in your personal statement, it's not enough to just mention that stuff. You always have to link it to the course you're applying for. So if you did a science degree, it's not just important to just mention, oh, I did biomedical science. You have to be able to, explain why you think biomedical science is related to the PA course, and what sort of things do they have in common, what sort of skill set were you able to gain while studying this course that you can be able to transfer into studying the PA program and also being a PA when you obviously graduate. You could also do stuff like any summer school you attended, any conferences, stuff like that. Just anything you've done that is related to the course, and as always, link it to the course you're applying for. Now, the second thing to include is work experience, and I think this is the biggest one, and this is the one that gets most people worried. So a lot of questions people ask is, what sort of work experience do I need, or do I need a clinical work experience? And here's my answer, and obviously this is my opinion on what I think. So I think if you can, yes, get a clinical work experience, because obviously that is obviously going to be better than anything else, because the skills you'll be able to get from this will be very relevant. But at the same time, it's very difficult to get these, and especially now with lockdown, the pandemic, it's tough to get clinical work experience. So if you're able to get clinical work experience, so what can you actually do? I don't think you need to panic. There are so many other things you can do. So my first advice is try and look for something which is care based. So it could be like working as a care worker, as a support worker, or volunteering at a care home, just anything that puts you into contact with patients. Because at the end of the day, no one wants you to, learn how to diagnose patients and treat patients before you apply for the course. Those stuff you will learn them while studying the course, but stuff like communicating with patients, being around patients, being comfortable with patients, and just those natural skills, those are things that you can get beforehand. So obviously, if you find a job where you just with patients and with people, the skills you will gain from that will be very, very relevant to what you're applying for. Another advice is, if you can get maybe something in a care home or in a setting like that, I think just get something where you're working with people, and because you can be working as a team and you can be interacting with people, and those are skills as well that you need to be able to learn to be a PA. And also in regard to work experience, there is something very important you need to keep in mind. It's not really about the work experience you did or you're doing. It's about how you're able to reflect on this work experience and extract the negative and the positive, and identify what skill sets you're able to gain from this experience, and how the skill sets can help you in being a better candidate, being a better PA as well. So it's more about that. So that might have sounded very complicated, but I'll just give you guys an example on what I mean. So let's take two people. One of the people was able to shadow a PA, and that seemed like the best experience. And the other person B, was only able to work at McDonald's, right? So you would think that obviously the person who was able to shadow a PA would write a better personal statement, because, I shadowed a PA, that's like the best thing you can do, right? And technically it's true, but not always. It's about how you're able to reflect on this. So let's say person one that shadowed the PA, in their personal statement, they said something like, so during the summer I shared the PA, which allowed me to see what PAs do and how they fit into the NHS. That's it. That's not really good, because you're talking about allowed you to see what PAs do, but my question is, okay, so what do they do then? Like, what do you actually think they do? That doesn't demonstrate anything. Now let's take person B that worked at McDonald's, right? And let's say this person, the person came in the restaurant, something like this. So I wasn't able to get any clinical work experience because of this and that. But I was able to work at McDonald's for 2 years, 3 years, and during my time working in McDonald's, I was able to encounter a lot of people and interact with a lot of people coming from different backgrounds and different cultures, and and also having different emotions at the time when I was able to interact with them. And this challenged me into building my communication skills, and I think this is a very useful skill as a PA, because as a PA I'd have to interact with a lot of patients at their most vulnerable moment, and being able to communicate with them is very crucial and would allow me to provide them with the best care I can provide them with. Now this is an example from the top of my head, and it might not be the best, but although this person just worked at McDonald's, they were still able to extract the positive from this experience, and also extract those skill sets that you actually need in being a PA. So you could even argue that this person that worked at McDonald's has a better chance of getting in. So what you need to do is think about those skill sets you need, and think about how you can, extract those skill sets from any experience you did. Now I'm just gonna pause for a second. If you've learned anything that you didn't know about in this video, please leave me a like below, and also share this video to your friends and other people that might be applying for the program. As I said, this is a video I wish I had, and I hope it's able to help a lot of you guys out there. Now let's just go back to the video. Now the third thing you need to include is any extra training you've done and any achievement you've got that can prove your skill set and also your commitment as well. Basically, this is your time to brag. This is your time to brag. What have you done? What sort of certificates, awards have you got? And the other thing to keep in mind here is that you always have to link it to the course you're doing. So let's get at a stupid example. You were able to climb the Himalaya. Is it the Himalaya? The mountain? Anyway, you're able to climb a mountain, right? Now that's very good. But if in your personal statement you just said, last summer I was able to climb this mountain, nobody really cares. And this can seem like something actually, stupid that nobody cares about. But you can actually talk about this in a way that actually proves that you committed to what you're doing. So for example, let's say you're talking about yourself and you said, when I decide to put my mind into something and when I become passionate about something, I'm able to do whatever it takes to get that goal, no matter how hard it can be. For example, I was able to climb this mountain and it was tough, but I was able to do it because of blah 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 blah. So then you could go back to re-emphasize that you're passionate about the program. So because of the kind of person you are, you're able to do whatever it takes, and also being able to just fight whatever difficulty you might encounter while studying the program. So climbing the mountain is not about the experience itself, but it's about the fact that that is showing that you're very committed because you're passionate about it, and because you're passionate about the peer program as well, you'll be as committed as well. So you have more chance of doing good in this program compared to maybe the other 1,000 people applying. So it's okay to brag about stuff that you've done, but just always try to link it to why is it relevant. Like, why do I need to know that you got this award or this certificate? Now this ties into the fourth thing I think you need to include, which is your hobbies. Once again, you can include the hobbies you want to include, but just link it to the peer program. Does it increase your chance of getting in? Just try to link any hobbies you're talking about to your personal statement and to yourself and to the skill set you're able to maybe get from that hobby that would help you to study this program, for example. So now hopefully you're able to write the main part, the bulk of your personal statement, and then you move on to the conclusion. So now what do you want to do in your conclusion? You basically want to reinforce everything you'll be talking about. You want to link it into the beginning as well. So you'll be talking about this course, why you're passionate about it, why you want to do it, and the skill set you have. So you just want to re-emphasize that as well, and just tie it together. But also you can talk about the future and stuff that you're planning to do. But it's always important to also bring it back again and tie it together to your personal statement. So for example, you're talking about something you're looking forward to. So how does studying this course help you to achieve that? Your personal statement has to just follow a certain thing from the beginning to the end, and everything you mention in that statement has to be linked to the personal statement itself. Now after you've done this, you're going to read that personal statement so many times and just check for grammar, check for punctuation, and make sure it's meet the standard required. And that's basically it. So that's the beginning, that's the main part, and that's the conclusion of your personal statement. Another video will be coming probably in the next week about some general tips to keep in mind when writing your personal statement, and just some tips to make your personal statement stand out. But I hope you're able to get a lot of value from this video as well, and if you did, let me know in the comment section. And as I said, share it to other people that might be applying and you might be able to help them out. And thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for subscribing, and I'll see you guys for the next one. Peace.